Okay. Welcome to the Manchester SEO podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So today we've got Naylor from Bumps and Bashes.
Yeah, that's right.
A baby first aid specialist company. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you. Saying that, I've met you before.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how do you start a podcast, an episode, and what do you say? Who knows? I don't know. But it's great to have you on.
Thank you.
Tell us a bit more about you.
Yeah. I've been doing Bumps and Bashes since 2009.
Okay.
I'm a sole business. I started it when I had my children, because I had my children later on in life, and I started it because many years ago I used to work on the airlines, and for every flight we did, we had to go through first aid procedures, and it was one of those things that was drilled into me, because if we had an accident in the sky or something, we all had to know what was going on.
Yeah.
So then, moons later after that, I had my own children. I had two children quite short, within 14 months of each other.
Right. Okay.
And when I had my first child, I thought I must go on a first aid course. The reason for that is my dad, who was 58 at the time, this was before my children, he went playing golf this day and died on the golf course.
Right.
So I was very big on everybody should know first aid, basically. But the one thing I didn't know much about was baby and children first aid.
Yeah.
So I started researching to go on a course, and the only courses I could find were like a 12-hour course, like a paediatric course. That was more for people in the childcare industry, nursery workers, things like that. So I did go on one, and I thought, I'm not really interested in bandaging and how to do the perfect bandage and accident books. I thought I want to keep my most precious people safe as possible, basically, and if there was an accident, what to do in that time.
Yeah.
So I thought about this with my first child, and then when the second child came along, it was a case of, it came back in my mind, I thought I need to know what to do. And I thought about the idea, and I thought surely somebody's doing this. And I probably researched it for about 2 years. I had the idea in my mind, and I made like a course that I would want as a parent.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, I thought, why is nobody doing this course? And this was absolutely, I just couldn't understand this. And the reason why nobody was doing the course is anybody could do it, but it was one of those things that people thought you'd have to go on a paediatric course. Right. So I contacted loads of people thinking, do I need to do an exam for this? Just to do the course, but I then retrained completely before I started it.
Yeah.
And set the course out. I told my hubby, I said, I'm going to do home courses, private courses in people's houses. And he went, nobody's going to want that at all. And I love putting that back in his face. Yeah. So, but that's the most popular one. Yeah. So the course takes about 3 hours, but I try, it's not formal at all. And one thing I never want to do is scare people.
Yeah.
So basically it's formal, and I do the course in people's homes, or people come to me, or I've got an online course.
Yeah. Well, we know each other because we got you to come and do a course for me and my wife, and it was like you say, it was quite long, but it was really informal, and it didn't feel like
you're doing an exam at the end.
Yeah. Well, we felt like you did, that if there was like a broken bone or something, we could probably deal with that quite simply. But if it was if your child was choking, or you needed to give CPR or something like that, it's very different for a child.
Yeah, definitely.
It's obviously the same biology, but the child's a lot smaller and maybe not. So there's different intricacies, and we wanted to know the best way of doing it.
That's it.
We got you in.
Yeah.
It was great.
Really, you had quite a lot of people on that course, didn't you? But I also do the adults on the course, because most of the time it will be the adults. So although I do for babies, children and adults on the emergency life support. The babies really focus on the babies and children, on the minor injuries, that kind of thing. Yeah. But I think it's important. You know, why do it on babies and children if you can't help an adult, really?
Yeah. I always said like my son's first birthday was more a celebration of keeping a human alive for a year than it was his first birthday, because I'm sure there's many people like me that had no experience of looking after babies, children, had 5 nieces and nephews, but I said to my sisters, bring them back when they're 5 and we'll babysit. I had no interest in it. Yeah. And so it was really important.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly recommend.
Oh, thank you.
So you was working on the airlines, was that your first job? Or?
Oh gosh, no, I've done a lot of different things. Especially from working on the airlines too. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think, so my sister was on the airlines, and there's a lot of skills that she has with people and dealing with confrontation.
Oh, yes.
She retrained as a teacher, and I think it really has given her a huge advantage to dealing with lots of people, because you're in an enclosed environment, and there's a huge amount of other soft skills that she learned there. Yes. Do you think that's helped you?
Definitely. I've always been a people person. Yeah. And I talk about my husband quite a lot, but he always says you are so nosy. And I said, I'm not nosy. I'm just very interested in people. Yeah. And sometimes I do these courses and I get the life story. I know absolutely everything about them when I leave. But I love it. Yeah. I love working with people all the time. So for me, a desk job. I have done those before, but no, definitely a people person.
Yeah. So, always try and look back at people's childhood maybe and what they, if you're a salesperson, what is it that gives you that competitive in it? And it might be you've got a big family and you've got other brothers or sisters you're competing against or something like that. Do you think there's anything from your child that makes you that people person?
I don't know. I'm from an open family. My son would probably say we're quite like conflicts or something, but we don't. We just say it as it is. Yeah. And he was telling me a story, which I won't go into. It goes on and on. But we just say how it is really. Yeah. We don't get upset. I don't think we're a family that gets upset very easy. No. So yeah. So
you set up Bumps and Bashes.
Yeah.
Great name.
Thank you.
Was it a difficult decision coming up with the name? Did that take you 2 years as well?
Well, to cut a long story short, and again, I'm going back a very many years ago, I did have a business. Well, I was on the airlines really, and it was an introduction agency.
Right.
And it was when introduction agencies or so what do you call them? Social. It was before Match, basically.
Okay, so like dating.
Like a dating, yeah. So I had all these ideas, and because when I was on the airlines, I knew so many people who were single.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get my head around this at all. So I did open this agency. I did everything wrong, honestly. I even bought a computer. I didn't even know how to turn it on at the time. So I had to go for lessons for that. But I called it Dolce Vita, which I thought was a great name in my head. But on the airlines, everybody called it Dolce Vita. So it was one of those things that I thought the name was really important. I didn't want anything to be scary, because I think people do still think first aid is scary. And so I was just thinking about it for ages, and I couldn't move forward until I had that name. Yeah. And that's why it was so important. I had a not a scary name, and that's how Bumps and Bashes came out, really. But the bumps part, I never thought about it at the time. I thought kiddies always have bumps and things like that. But also, people talk about bumps as in pregnant. So that was an accident, really, how that came about. Yeah.
We were talking before about business names, and we've recently done a blog where we talk about how the internet has come into the real world, and someone had named their restaurant, Thai restaurant near me, as their name because they thought it would come up higher in searches. And so it's really fascinating to me that what's the process of coming up with your name and why, you know, and to say that I didn't want it to be frightening, I want it to be kind of fun, and I suppose it reflects you as well.
That's it, yeah. But one name came up, Bleeding Babies, and it was just one of those.
Bleeding Babies.
We thought that is a definitely no. So so it's I quite like the name myself, to be quite honest. Yeah.
So you started a business. Was it? Did it take off?
Oh, it's hard work. Absolutely hard work, and I'd be there if you had a pram or bump in any way. I'd be behind you with leaflets with this. It was hard work. I was going around giving leaflets out and things like that. But because at the time I was the only person doing it, my name spread quite quickly. But the open courses, it was just before the internet really came out. So I had a website, but you couldn't pay. You had to send me a check, and it was just a bit clunky, really. So then I put on a booking system, which was like, the best thing ever, really. So people could just book rather than contact me and then go back and forward. So I put the booking system on then, and that was a lot easier. I was really busy, probably about 3 years in after that. But now, I think most of my work comes from word of mouth, which is great, really. But you still have to do the social media parts of things, which is hard for me because I'm not brought up from that background. So that's quite hard for me, one of my hardest things, really.
The social media is really good if you're a brand new business and you can compete online where you wouldn't compete maybe in the real world. And that gives you a little bit of a boost. But we had George Clarkin from City Lock and Safe, and they're a family business that have been going for 60 years. And his main issue is staying relevant from, as things come on where you've got more and more competitors. And they're much more visible online, and he says that's where people find them these days. So it can be tricky, but there's nothing better than word of mouth.
That's it, definitely.
Referrals. So it was quite hard work. You seem quite a tenacious character.
Yeah, because I just thought, in my mind, I would say this, but I just feel like everybody who's got a child or a family should know first aid. And again, I think it's probably one of those things that sometimes people don't think about it until an accident has happened or they've heard of something, and then some people have come on the course. I've had some amazing courses, to be honest. Amazing, and I love it. But over the years I've had probably 3 or 4 that have been a bit difficult because they've had some kind of serious tragedy in the family, but they usually pre-warn me before I get there, and I just have to be very sensitive on those. But
there's certain industries that are like that. One is cyber security, where people don't tend to do it unless they get hacked. So it's a reactive style thing, and they have to comply with some regulations in their industry. But it's awful, isn't it, if that's because someone's died, especially if it's your child or whatever. Don't know where I was going with that one, but I suppose you've got some really good stories of people who've actually used what they've learned
definitely. I have people contact me afterwards saying they have saved a life and things like that. But the thing is, I'll go to a home and for me, it's like going out for a coffee with a group of friends. And although I don't know them, by the end of it, I do know them. And I leave, and they're really thankful for me for coming. And I think they are also quite surprised what they find out in the short time, really. But I've been to some famous people's houses.
Right.
Footballers, excuse me. So I've been to quite a few footballers' houses, and I don't know the footballers because I'm not really that into footballers. But it's only when I come home and said, I've been to somebody's house today, and it's just one of those things. And that my husband's really into football, and I said, that's so and so. But again, everybody's so different.
Yeah.
But I've never had a bad course. Never. Yeah. So
it's something you're invested in, isn't it?
I love it. Absolutely love it. But from starting it, when I did my first course, I look back and just think, I was so nervous. I can't tell you how nervous I was. And it was in a place in Altrincham, like a community hall.
Yeah.
And I had these people who'd all sent the cheques and things like that, a deposit. And it must have gone on for about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And they had like a music stand that I put some of my notes on.
Yeah.
And I had to slow down because I was talking that fast. And I wrote on it, on pages, slow down. Because when I originally did it, I did it in my living room.
Yeah.
So I knew all the stuff, but I was just unbelievably nervous, really.
Yeah.
But now the course hasn't really changed an awful lot. But I have changed, I think, just through confidence and just through experience from doing it so long, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a memory of when you thought that I've actually got a good business here and it's working?
Yeah.
Because that's a realisation that I think business owners have, where they go, actually,
yes,
this is doing all right now.
I have done that, and then all of a sudden think, so it has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice when my word gets spread about. I would just say spread my word about all over the place, don't care. But yeah, the people have just been so nice in business. One thing can lead to another thing. And it's weird because what I do, one difficulty is that it's not repeat business. So once people have learned first aid and I give them a book, whether that's a bad thing, but they don't need to come back for another course, really. So that was quite hard because once I've got a client, I have to move on to the next person. But just recently, or well over the years, I have built up like businesses that don't have to have this kind of first aid, but want all the people. They just value the staff so much that they say, right, we want everybody to have this course because it's not a course that there's an exam at the end of it. We don't do exams because the course is so short. There's no exam to go for, really. So I've been really lucky in that way that just recently I've done a course for a council and they just wanted 4 courses over a period of time, and then the other day I did another start of another 4 courses, which I thought I'd have to wait another year for their budget and things like that. So, and things like that kind of snowball for me. Once one's had one, then somebody else will have one. Just by talking about it. So those are good because that is repeat business, really.
That's good. A lot of businesses say, well, how do they measure success? And it's really different for everyone. I suppose you might have a few different
I don't know about success because to me it's work, although I love it. But my success is my family, to be quite honest. It's I've got 2 children her husband and my other family. To me, that's success, that I can see them and, you know, some of my family are quite poorly at the moment, I must admit, so, but I can be with them and take them places, so I can fit things around my lifestyle as a parent and you know, wife. Yeah. So to me, that, I suppose that's success, and success is loving what you do. Yeah. So if I went to work all the time and I hated it, I just think, what's the point? Just do something you love. Yeah. Really. Yeah.
And the ability to make a business out of something that you love doing.
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
It's really, with some people, it's not always money that's success or,
that's it.
You know, or anything like that, but, you know,
there always could be more.
If someone manages to save one life, and
that's it, yeah.
More success than anyone really.
Definitely.
Are there any challenges in your industry at the moment that you're facing all the time?
It's one of those things that everybody's having babies. So again, it's just promoting it really. That's the big one. And I don't seem to have time to do half the things that I'd like to do, even though I've got ideas coming out of my head. Yeah. But time is a big one. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Trying to do everything. So
it's tricky, isn't it? Fitting it.
Very tricky.
Especially if it's just you as well, and you know there's very few others with you.
Yeah, that's it.
You wear multiple hats.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's like I had a home course the other day, and in between that, my car got stolen.
Oh gosh.
Off the drive, and usually I have the mannequins. I might have the mannequins in the car, something like that. And I'd taken them out because I was going somewhere, and my car was completely clear. But I was so chuffed that they didn't take the mannequins. I thought, don't care about the car, just don't take the mannequins. And then I couldn't let them down the people the next day for the course, so I had to hire a car.
Gosh.
You know, if you work with other people, sometimes you could have maybe sent them something to do the course, but I just never let anybody down or something like that. So, because there's so many people involved who come on the course.
You brought some mannequin with you.
I have, yeah.
Show.
So this is a baby mannequin. I bring loads of these, basically. And this is so I teach from round about the minute they're born to round about their first birthday. Right. So it's more about the size of them more than anything. And then I bring some more mannequins, which are the children, and they're from round about their first birthday to puberty. Right. So I say if they look like a child, treat them like a child. Yeah. And then I also bring the adults too, which I always call my exes. So and then I always talk about poison after that. So I bring loads of mannequins. Yeah. Because one thing also that I did when I was researching it, because they're quite expensive, well, they're very expensive things, I thought it was really important that everybody could have access to a mannequin to have a go on it, basically. So that's why I do bring loads of mannequins. I just don't have one and 12 people have to wait for that one mannequin to have a go on. No. Because I just think, it's defeating the object. We want to get through as lot as possible in a short space of time, but give everybody as much individual time to have a go on the mannequins. But they ask more questions then too. Yeah.
I suppose it's important that if everyone's got one, no one feels self-conscious in front of everyone as well.
Yeah, and it is relaxed. People ask questions. You see the faces relax on the course, because first of all I think, what's this going to be about? This looks very serious. And then so many courses are just funny. I have so many funny courses, but I just laugh all the way through it. Yeah. And I come home and I just think, God, I love that class. I loved it. So that's majority of classes, basically. Yeah.
Well, that's what people bring, isn't it? They bring stories and they bring personality.
That's it, yeah. And you do get ones that are really just, you might get one character in a course who's just hilarious. And I laugh all the time at everything. But I had some really funny courses too.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm going back years ago, I went to this house to do a course, and I usually sit in front of a fireplace, basically, or in front of a telly, so everybody can see me. They all sat down.
Yeah.
And I was just getting everything ready, and she had like a shag pile carpet,
Right.
or a little rug, basically.
Yeah.
I thought, what's that in the carpet? And it was a baby poo. So I went to pick it up and I thought, that's a poo, that.
Yeah.
And then I told the woman, I like brought it to her on the tissue, I said, I think I found a poo on your carpet. And she went, I was changing the baby's nappy, I wondered where that went to.
Oh,
so I have had some really, really funny courses. One time I went to this course and it was at night time, and it was a load of mums that were having, it was her first time they were going out after they'd all breastfed, and they were just going out for a girly night out. So when I got there, they had a sign, it said Prosecco and first aid. So this is what kind of class it was. And they were all a bit like, oh, should we have a drink now? I said, have a drink. You know, it's a relaxing course.
Yeah.
And so at the end, they were all getting, you could tell they were getting very, very giddy.
Yeah. And
they were going out. And I went to take my stuff outside. I said, look, I'll just leave you. I'll just put my stuff outside the door and go. And they had a drive that had those lights that come on.
Yeah.
And loads of cars on the drive. So it was light when I went there, but dark when I came out. And when I came out, I tripped over because I had like my box with me and some of the mannequins. I tripped over and smashed my face in and smashed my teeth in. So now it's very, very comical, but at the time it's just started crying. But I thought, I can't go back in, as you say. I know we've just had a first aid course, but can you help me?
No.
So that was funny.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, it doesn't sound very funny though.
I look back and I think that was quite funny, really. If anybody saw me, I would have...
Prosecco, first aid and dentistry.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And then I did go to another course, and this man was a granddad, basically, of this newborn baby. And I kept thinking, I recognise him. I really recognise him. And anyway, we got talking, and they all started talking about football. So I said, that's where I know you from. I said, you go to the same football as my son goes, and he goes on that local council pitch. And he looked at me and he went, I don't think so. I was a little bit embarrassed then.
Yeah.
And it was actually a famous footballer. And then I said something like, why are you Irish? And he said, I'm not Irish, I'm Welsh. Everything about it, I thought, oh my goodness. And it was only later on, after the course, that I realised who he was, really.
Right. Yeah.
So, but these are just, every day is so different, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see any challenges in the future with what you do?
I'm sure there will be, but also that's why I've done an online course because I am just Manchester based, although I'll go to like an hour's drive away to do a course. I've done an online course that anybody can buy if they've got Wi-Fi. And that was one of the challenges that I thought, I have to get around this. Because there is a lot of franchises out there now, a lot of them. But the difference is, I am fully qualified. Now, that's the weird thing about it. You'd think you'd have to be qualified to do this course, but because there's no exam at the end of it, you don't have to be qualified.
Right.
So basically, anybody can do it. And I have people come on the course and then later set up, trying to do exactly the same. That's a bit of a challenge, really, because I feel like, say, get your own ideas. So if there is challenges ahead, hopefully I'll be able to approach them and do something about it. But that was the big one, about just being so central to Manchester.
Do you think the quality of courses vary a lot for it?
Absolutely. But between me and another...
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And I think it is all about putting people at ease.
Yeah.
You know, when I talk about, especially the life-saving part of it, it is rare. It really is rare. So I don't want anybody to be scared. And one of the things I always say is, you won't need this course. You'll just need plasters after it. Because the majority of times, that's all you will need.
Yeah.
But it's just so important to know first, you know, how to look after people. Because really, you're filling the gap, if should an accident happen, between that happening and the emergency services taking over. And they are really vital parts of, you know, saving somebody's life. And I think a lot of people know that after they've had an incident, or like I say, like a near miss, basically. And that's when a lot of people do go on the course. So, but on saying that, I am good fun to go out with, but I do know every horror story going. Every horror story, because that's what I do for business, and I read up on things. And
I was like,
one of the big challenges for me is social media. When people put out things, how to deal with a child, and people put advice on, and I think you're telling the wrong advice. And I think it's quite dangerous, that, because like old wives' tales, I have heard that many old wives' tales, and they get passed down through the years. The other one the other week I spoke, somebody was telling me that somebody told her that if a child was choking, to give them milkshake. I've heard about putting potatoes on burns. And you know, one very simple thing is, if somebody's choking, they can't make a noise.
No.
And I think a lot of people get confused between gagging and choking, because when people are weaning babies, they do make these awful noises, and it's quite normal. So we've all survived it basically here, and but I think they think that's choking, and it's not so much choking. So just weird, like putting a key on somebody's neck if they're having a nosebleed. You know, I just think, who makes these up? Cough. If somebody says cough if somebody's having a heart attack.
Okay.
First of all, you don't know if somebody's having a heart attack, and do not ask anybody to cough if they're having a heart attack. Don't ask anybody to cough when they're poorly.
No.
Yeah.
So you don't just up and leave afterwards, you leave.
Oh yeah, so I leave a first aid booklet, and there's just loads and loads of information. And the reason for this is, so when people come on a course, they don't have to write notes and things like that. Although you do get the odd person who likes to write their own notes. But I always think first aid books are the sort of thing that people look at after an accident. So they do go away with memory joggers and things like that, just to help them. So they get loads of different things. But you can test yourself on them, everything. It's very good, to be honest, because this covers like a 12-hour paediatric course. Yeah.
Well, I still have that in the house.
Brilliant.
From 6 years ago.
Wow.
And a little story. So I luckily have never had to use anything we learned.
Brilliant. That's great.
But my son went to a house of a couple that were on that course, and he was choking on something, and they managed to get it out. It wasn't a bad incident, but it's definitely
came up quite quickly.
Yeah, but there's another child is with you that's, you know, you would not want to be in a position where you wish you'd known something.
Definitely.
And it's a really good quality booklet.
Yeah, it is.
In every way. So you know, if anyone was looking to book on a course or find out where you are, how would you do that?
That's all I was saying. Just look for bumps and bashes.
Yeah.
If anybody wanted to do a home course, the best way is just to phone me, because sometimes you get people and I can't do this date, and I'll say I can do this date. Could you? And it goes on, and we're backwards and forwards. Yeah. And sometimes you get other people. They phone me up, and I say I've got we can have it next Thursday. Yeah, book it, and it's just so simple.
Yeah.
And also families is a big one really, because I go to a lot of people's houses, and we could have both sets of grandparents there, because really at the end of the day they are like the first babysitters. So I was telling you about how to contact me, sorry.
No, it's okay, but it makes lots of sense, and we can put all contact details on.
Brilliant.
Brilliant thing, but you've got a website, haven't you?
I've got a website, yeah. So you can book online on the website to come to a course. You will have to contact me to book a private course.
Yeah.
And also, if you wanted the online course, which anybody can go on, you can stop and start it. You can just pay for that through the website and get it instantly.
Right.
So
it's bumpsandbashes.co.
Bumpsandbashes.com.
.com.
Yeah.
I should know that, shouldn't I?
But also with grandparents, I think sometimes they're made to come on the course because they'll say, well, I've raised 3 children, I never needed first aid, and I think they've been dragged along, but they love it, absolutely love it, because I think years ago there was no first aid for babies and children, and half of it is, it's all right to say, oh, it's so easy when you know how, and it is, because I try and make it as simple as possible. Yeah.
Well, that's a really good place to finish.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. That's gone really fast, but thank you, and I hope I haven't waffled on too much.